Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? OK, cool. Thank you. So my name is ADINA. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Thank you to the organizers for organizing this, and everybody else who's contributing to making this so amazing. This is my second time here. The first time, I was just an attendee. And this is my first live presentation. So today I will be talking to you about how to build a Chrome extension in React. So a little bit about me. I am a full-stack software engineer at Bloomberg. I work in the media subscription growth team, but I was previously in the HR engineering team, where I built my first Chrome extension. I am originally from Romania, but I spent almost half of my life in the US. I currently live in New York City with my husband and my dog. My dog's name is Tex. He is actually wearing a Bloomberg volunteer t-shirt in that picture. And yeah, so a little bit about Tex. Just kidding. But yeah, so he's somewhat of an influencer, and he gets a lot of emails that he sometimes cannot get to right away. But he doesn't like being rude to people and leave them waiting, so he asked me to make him a Chrome extension. The extension that I'm presenting today will allow Tex or anyone else to generate and send an email to let people know that he will get back to them soon. OK, so more seriously. Last year, I built a Chrome extension as part of my work at Bloomberg. We decided to build the extension in React instead of vanilla JavaScript, because that would make the code more understandable, maintainable, as well as easier to style using Bloomberg-specific React components. In this presentation, I'll show you a sample extension that I built to present here that I dubbed Email Postponer. And this extension allows users, like I said before, to auto-respond to emails sent in Gmail. And it also allows people to write notes about the emails that they receive that will not be shared with the sender. I will also share steps to build your own extension using React and other lessons I learned along the way. So for an overview of the extension looks like a website. You can see it over there. It only opens on Gmail, so you can't actually open it on other websites. It opens as a side panel instead of a pop-up, so the default behavior for extensions is to open as a pop-up, and when it loses focus, the pop-up closes. But I want it to stay open, so it's a side panel. It leverages Material UI for easy out-of-the-box component styling. It allows users to interact with the contents of the web page, both manually and automatically. And it communicates with the backend service using the Fetch API. So to set up the extension, I first created a new project using Create React App that is no longer really supported. But this is a very small application. Then I had to change the build command to get React to generate separate JavaScript and HTML files in order to prevent content security policy errors. I also set it up so that it doesn't generate source maps in order to get rid of some extra warnings in the browser. The project uses the Chrome API to interact with Chrome by using an injected object, which is also called Chrome. And because we're using TypeScript, I had to install some extra types for that. And every extension needs to have a manifest.json file. And it has to be named manifest.json file. This is important if you want your extension to work on Firefox too, but I'm not going to talk about that. Create React App creates a manifest.json file for us, but the extension is required to have a specific structure. And I'm going to talk about it in the next few slides. So we are using Manifest version 3 for the extension. Google is in the process of phasing out Manifest version 2. And normally the action has information about the extension pop-up and icons, but since we're using a side panel, we want this to be empty. Since we are running the extension as a side panel instead of a pop-up again, we need to add web-accessible resources to the extension. The extension code is in the index.html file, and the resources are available on all web pages that the extension would be running on, which is that matches tag there. Permissions are basically the same as the permissions on your phone. We are only using the active tab permission here, which gives the extension temporary access to the currently active tab. We also need this permission in order to open and close the side panel. And lastly, the host permissions grant the extension the ability to send cross-origin resource sharing requests to the host mentioned in the array. And this allows us to make the service call to the fetch API in order to save our nodes. And now I'm going to talk about what's the most important here, actually. And these are actually vanilla JavaScript files. So the service worker, or the background script, runs on all the tabs in the browser and gets executed on browser launch. It listens to specific events in the background, such as changing tabs or changing the URL. It's able to take browser-level actions. It communicates with the extension code and the content script through message passing. The script is written in vanilla JavaScript. And again, we use it to open and close the side panel, as well as call the REST services using the fetch API. And it has to be written in vanilla JavaScript. Content scripts are the other files that I wrote in vanilla JavaScript. However, they don't have to stay in vanilla JavaScript. If you eject your application and change Webpack, you can actually create them using React. But anyway, content scripts. They run in the context of web pages, have access to the DOM elements, objects, and methods. There are separate instances of the content scripts running on every tab, one per tab. Content scripts execute on pages matching the matches regular expression. And they communicate with the service worker and the React code also through message passing. So basically, we use content scripts to create the side panel iframe, to pass messages between the React code and the background script, as well as to copy and paste text. Also, the extension only opens on Gmail, since Gmail is the only thing that matches the matches tag, regular expression there. So a little bit more explanation about message passing that I kept talking about. So we have background script, content scripts, React code, as well as the browser and the web page that the extension is running on. So first, okay, so sending messages looks like that. It's standard. So the React code can communicate with content scripts, can send messages to content scripts. Content scripts can send messages to background scripts. Background scripts can take browser-level actions. And they can also communicate both with the React code and with the content scripts. The content scripts take website actions, like actions on the website that the extension runs on. And they can also communicate back with the React code. So basically, the content scripts sit in the middle between the React code and the background script. And they are the only way that the React code can communicate with the background script. The background script is the only way to act on the browser. The content script is the only way to act on the website. And now for an example, and because of time constraints, I am only going to give you this example. In my longer talk, I had 3. But calling external services using fetch and message passing, we are, again, using the fetch API to call external services. And so an important caveat is that only the service worker or the background script can call the fetch API without coarse errors. So we need to pass messages from the extension code to the content script, and then relay those messages to the background script. So I created a helper function called sendRequest that sends the message to the content script and then either rejects or resolves the promise. We can then call this method asynchronously with our request details. And then in the background script, we can just call the standard fetch API with a given request and then send a response or an error back to the caller, depending on whether the fetch request is successful. And for a demo, this is Tex's email. He got an email from React Alicante asking him if he allows me to give this talk. So he responds to whoever sent the message, which is me in this case. That's what the subject is about. He's going to respond in mid-September. He's going to wish them a great evening. And then, yeah, you can see that the fields got populated correctly. And eventually, you can press send email. And the email gets sent. And you also have these notes. So thanks everyone for attending my talk, and hope you enjoy the city or have safe travels. Yeah. Okay, yeah, and you can find me at that handle, and the slides will be shared. I have a lot of useful links there. Thank you.